Right, so we know that Scott has joined for the second season, and he's kind of playing a douchebag.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah. Well, he kind of outs Daniel's medical condition to the public, and we find out he was a cheater in their marriage. So why
for that
would you want to tackle such a unappealing initially role?
And a narcissist.
Yeah, don't forget narcissist. Well, I mean, there's a zillion reasons why joining this show was going to be amazing. This being number 1 through 9.
Stop it! How does he?
But you know, it's fun playing characters who are flawed and complicated and not so easy for an audience maybe to figure out and know who they are. And in this case, you know, jumping in, all I know in the beginning is that I've done these horrible things and that I'm a kind of a, you know, by any means necessary kind of guy. And as we've gone along here, you know, I think my own redemption is revealed to even me, little by little. And so, you know, these are great writers and incredible cast, so the way that even the, you know, douchebags are handled is kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you just enjoy the freedom it allows you to kind of go on screen and just be something totally different?
In a way, yeah. It's funny because I've thought back a little bit. You know, one of the first things I ever did, I played like a really kind of nice, earnest guy. But since then, if you really parse it out, because I always have this general sense of like, why do I, you know, I want to play more complicated, more whatever guys, but I've kind of been typecast as a douchebag a little bit over the latter part of my career
because you
here.
can get away with it. This gets away with
That's right,
murder.
that's right. I learned that a lot as a kid.
I mean,
I did. I got away
bet.
with it. But yeah, it's fun to be able to, to express some of these behaviors and things that I wouldn't even try to get away with in my own life. And that's part of the fun of being an actor.
Okay, cool.
Now we know the backstory of why they broke up. You slept with her best friend. So
Do we have to keep...
No big deal. No big I don't understand the problem.
I see how this is going to go.
Have you guys,
Are these people on salary?
have you guys like discussed like a backstory further amount of like how you guys got together and met and how they, you know, the relationship evolved to sleeping with?
We just got in this really tough position that you just put us in right now of either looking like really bad actors or lying.
Hi.
It's okay if you have no backstory.
We actually traveled extensively together.
No, please.
Well, we did. Well, so one of the things that I feel like we've done is in a sense wait for the story to reveal to us. You know,
We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. So like we're shooting an episode next where the two of them, you know, she's asked to kind of take over the family bar for a minute for her dad, and I wind up back in there, and so you get this look at how they maybe even met originally and how they started out, and but I have to say it's felt very, I don't know, it's just felt, I just buy into it, and you know, you don't always completely buy into a relationship that you're playing on screen, but it was easy to buy into the like her telling me to like, you know, shove it up my ass because she's good at that. But now we're having this sort of turn, and it feels like, you know, there's a history between these two people, and some of that, you know, is written very well, and then some of it just kind of either happens maybe or it doesn't, and it has been feeling like, even though we haven't sat around and talked extensively about like our history, that there is one there. Does that sound?
Yeah.
They mentioned something in the material for, you know, the overall arc of your character or whatever, that you say you got transferred back, but that maybe was not as accidental as you make it appear to be, that maybe you are there to try and win her back.
Lying again.
Yeah, we're lying. So that was cheating, douchebaggery, and lying. Yeah, I mean it's revealed pretty quickly, so I don't, you know, we're not giving too much away. That within the first couple of episodes, he kind of says, "Look, I said I got transferred back here, and it was all about work, but he says I've come back because I missed you, and I want us to be back together, and thus begins this epic journey up the mountain
Of justice.
Of justice.
Then we start criming solvers together.
Yeah.
You know, we both, you know, have behooved each other in numerous occasions with regards to solving crimes. They, you know, what's fun about that is that you realize that once upon a time they made a really, really good team, professionally and personally. And so now, with that sort of pulled away from them, it's like, you know, with the personal gone, can they still have that good work relationship too? We'll see.
Which is fun because what we got a chance to do for the bulk of the season is, while there was this, you know, there was this, well, whichever was on the surface and whichever was buried underneath, there were these two layers to what was happening, which was, one was the professional, where they actually really do work great, you know, bounce well off each other and respect each other and kind of like make each other better. But then there's this other side of it, which is the whole cheating.
Pretty complicated past, yeah.
The complicated past that keeps them from being able to just be easy with each other personally. It's been fun. I mean, it's like, I mean, look, it's anytime a series is this well written and well acted, it's a joy. But when it's able to kind of be so specific in terms of who people are to each other, is kind of rare. And so it's been fun.
Does her relationship with Daniel complicate this again? Because I mean, there was obviously, you know, the dreamed hallucinated kiss in the last season, and you know, there were some things where she obviously cares about him, even if it's just as a friend. And you know, he obviously calls you out in the first episode for what he thinks you are. Does that complicate stuff for her?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, Donnie showing up complicates things a great deal for Kate, especially the more he reveals himself as not to be the sort of two-dimensionally bad guy that she wants to see him as. You know, I think it's pretty typical of people who work in law enforcement to see people as either good or bad. And she's decided that he is very bad. And he's quickly sort of, you know, moving into this gray area, and it sort of really upsets her balance of what she knows to be true. And so in terms of how it affects her relationship with Daniel, I think it really, I don't know, she has to confront her feelings for and about Daniel when this little troublemaker, and I mean, you know what I mean, when this guy sort of says to Daniel, I think that this girl's into you, and she's sort of put on the spot and sort of absolutely mortified because she's really busted, and completely shuts him down, says you have no evidence that is the case, and is also completely like crushed at the same time. And meanwhile he's like slowly becoming a better guy, so everything is in flux. So yeah, a lot more complicated, if that makes any sense.
Is he actually, her ex-husband, is he worthy of earning her trust and love again?
Seems like it, but I haven't seen the next script. Yeah.
Well, he said he wanted to earn his redemption. Is that what he's there to prove?
Sure, I think so.
Well, you guys have filmed a number of the episodes for most of the season so far.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, for a while, it's just kind of be here, be back, and kind of take a beating for as long as I need to. Until
for roughly 8 episodes. Yeah. He really takes such a beating. I think there's going to be extreme Donnie sympathy by the end of this. I really do, which is almost impossible, but that's what Scott's pulled off so brilliantly.
You're sweet. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what's fun about it is I mean, it's such a sort of cliche to say, but there's no sort of good and bad. There's no absolutes. And the guy that you start sort of thinking there's no way in hell you could ever kind of, you know, root for or at least accept, it just starts to challenge that, you know, in a way. But yeah, I think he's, everything he has is in the, you know, the Kate taking me back basket, and so his strategy changes as the story unfolds. In the beginning, it's literally just put myself back in front of her and see what happens. And
very little strategy involved.
Very little.
I just show up and I bring this.
Show up for egg rolls.
Everything will go great. So yeah.
Well, outside of your guys' relationship on the screen with your characters, what else are they going to be tackling as far as themes this season?
As far as
Themes.
Oh, themes?
Yeah.
Wow. We have a cornucopia of terrifying new mental illnesses to talk about. That's always fun. What else have we got? Yeah, we got infighting. We got.
Well, there's relationships on,
With Daniel.
every step with Daniel.
Absolutely.
Well,
And
do
then
they
this
kind of team
kind
up
of
together to kind of keep an eye on him?
What's that?
Do they like team up together to kind of keep an eye on Daniel because he's off his meds?
Somebody's got to keep an eye on Daniel. It's got to be either R.J. Smith's character or me, or you in an unlikely way step up.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the Daniel and Donnie wind up sort of finding connections that you wouldn't suspect they ever would. And a lot of it is through Kate, and the beginnings of it is just sort of a little bit more angling by Donnie, and in the end, it's like, I don't know. There's something about Donnie being a guy who's willing to do whatever it takes, and if he doesn't break laws or rules, he goes to like the outer boundaries of what those things are, and that's something that I think really obviously has hurt Kate in the past, and it's something that rubs Daniel completely the wrong way in the beginning. But in the end, what he's fighting for isn't necessarily a bad thing. He's fighting to put bad guys away, and he's fighting to get the love of his life back. Said it.
Who's mad at that? Right?
Who's not crying now?
Well, they both have a vested interest in making sure their cases are ironclad, and they're working with an expert or a consultant who isn't always stable, is hallucinating.
Right.
So it'd be kind of in their joint interest to kind of figure out if Daniel's actually as competent as he's trying to represent himself.
Perfectly said.
Yeah. Do you want to switch seats?
What are we doing?
Well, that might bring those characters closer together with an aligned interest in their careers and what they want to see as justice being accomplished.
Just write down that I said that.
Said Rachel. I think that RJ obviously, but also Rachel's character Kate, they just have such a history, and so she knows him so much more in depth, and so even when he's actually kind of off the reservation in a moment, I think so far in the story, at least in so far as Donnie sits in it, I'm not always fully aware of what that is or looks like, and so there have been fleeting moments where I've come to want to take care of him as somebody that I care about, but in terms of really being attentive to it, I don't really even understand enough about what it is yet. But I would think, as we, keep on going through the story, it seems like that is growing, so that anybody who winds up caring about him and knowing him at all winds up kind of wanting to protect him from himself in some way.
Were you worried at all? Because the way we leave it sort of at the end of last season is that he's on his meds, he's, seems to be doing better, he's not seeing Natalie, that kind of thing. Were you worried when you kind of broke that when you did come back that it was going to be too, like that they were going to keep him too normal for too long?
I wasn't super concerned about that because, as Eric himself said, if he's on his meds, we don't really have a show. So I wasn't super concerned about that.
Right.
No, I knew that we'd find the crazy sooner or later, and we're back.
And how could you solve crimes without the hallucinations?
Exactly. They're so helpful, those hallucinations.
And then for you, when you kind of decide what you're going to do, and because I'm sure you get more than one job offer at a time. But I mean,
it's okay.
But I mean, there's a lot of procedurals on the air. What was it about this one that you thought, okay, I want to be a part of that?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of sort of shows that would be classified as a procedural show that wouldn't be as interesting, nearly as interesting to jump into, and this one in particular. First and foremost, how well it's written, and Rachel and Eric primarily, but all the performers.
Wait, primarily Eric, or?
Did it sound like more
Yeah,
Eric than you?
that's how I heard it.
He can hear me right now. It's right there.
It's okay. He's the executive producer. We know where our bread's been.
Yes.
Go on.
So first and foremost, like telling good stories, but the fact that this show, first of all, that the procedure is kind of unique in that it's about behavior and character and these psychological conditions. So it's almost like half a whodunit and half a whydunit, you know. And how was that? And she didn't say that. That was not Tiffany. You can write that, not Tiffany. Just kidding. But I saw. It seemed like, even before I was part of the show, that in just reading the scenes with Donnie and Kate and Daniel, that it was adding this whole new world of layer of character and relationship. That was, I mean, that's the main reason why I think I do this work, is exploring all that stuff. And so it's this rare opportunity to kind of have the best of both worlds. You get this kind of really interesting technical side of it, which is a murder mystery that's being sort of walked through. And all the while, there's this interpersonal stuff that's sitting on top of it and underneath it. And it's very difficult to pull that off. I think a lot of shows have tried to execute that, and this show does it, you know, better than any of the ones that I had known about. And so, you know, when this became an opportunity, I jumped at it.
How is your